Major gun control battle is brewing in Washington, D.C. We have to tell you about it tonight. Republicans are deeply involved. We are going to name names. We are going to ask you to take action, and we are going to insist that you get in the fight to protect our Second Amendment rights. This is not a drill. Welcome in, everyone. Patrick Parsons, Executive Vice President of the American Firearms Association here in Kennesaw, Georgia, along with another member of the leadership of our organization, Aaron Dorr is here tonight as well, guys. A lot has happened over the last few hours.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell has given the go-ahead to nearly a dozen Republicans potentially to start negotiating with Democrats on all sorts of gun control, guys. If you're just now joining us, let us know where you are watching from. Again, I'm in Kennesaw. Pound that share button. Let us know exactly where you're watching from. Be loud and proud. We've got a lot of information in an action-packed show tonight. Aaron, for everybody out there watching, start naming names of these traitorous Republican senators who are trying to screw us and our Second Amendment rights. Go.
Folks, we knew this was going to happen. It's been a quiet 6 months right now. We warned you guys all along. If we get, God forbid, a mass shooting somewhere, we're going to see Republicans lead the charge to betray us, and it is happening right now. There was a meeting earlier today on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. with the radical left, Dick Blumenthal, Dick Durbin, the radical nut job left, but they're joined by Republicans agreeing to a framework, that's the phrase, a framework for gun control next month. First, you've got Susan Collins from Maine, this nasty old witch. She's the worst of the worst of the worst. Mitt Romney, we all know Mitt Romney from Utah. Pat Toomey, outgoing senator. That's the danger here. We have outgoing Republicans who don't give a damn anymore. They're free to act like they always wanted to act, hyper RINO moderates, and they can't be held accountable. Roy Blunt, same thing, retiring senator from Missouri, on board these conversations. Rob Portman, retiring senator from Ohio, on board. You even got guys like Tom Tillis, retiring senator from North Carolina. You got Mike Braun, Republican from Indiana, Bill Cassidy, Louisiana, and of course, Lindsey freaking Graham from South Carolina. And we haven't even got to John Cornyn from Texas and Rick Scott from Florida. These are all the Republicans, not Democrats, Republicans, who are getting ready to screw us over, folks. We have got to fight back immediately.
Yeah, and another name, too, out there, Aaron, is Lisa Murkowski of Alaska, who is never to be trusted on any of these issues. And I think for gun owners out there who are watching to understand potentially our sources on Capitol Hill, we've been working them all day long. And by the way, Aaron just put up the website across the bottom, guys. When you get a chance tonight on the show or when it's over, go to stopredflags.com, stopredflags.com. Those emails go directly into your congressman, directly into your senators, and also join up when you're done with that at the American Firearms Association. Joinafa.org. Now, let's get into the details here. What could we possibly see? Well, our sources on Capitol Hill tell us that red flag gun confiscation is on the table, a national red flag law. What does that look like? In the worst case scenario, it's all the way red flags. In the quote-unquote best, which is never good, right? A watered-down version is going to be incentivizing the states to pass red flag laws, and then the feds will pass them on billions of dollars. I think what you could also see is, in order to incentivize some of these Republicans to go along, if they weren't already evil and devilish in and of themselves, is money for the states, for school safety, on and on and on. Aaron, you're the legislative whiz on this stuff. You've seen this stuff at the state level. You break down a lot of legislation. Give us your thoughts on these type of compromises.
Well, there's two different versions, like you said. One is a full-on national red flag gun seizure law. And for those who might not know about this, what this is the same as those purple-haired fact checkers who ban you on Facebook for a month for posting some quote unquote offensive meme. It's kind of the same thing here, only it comes down to your gun rights being taken away. What this does is let almost anybody, it could be an ex-spouse, it could be a teacher, it could be an angry coworker, it could be a member of law enforcement, file a complaint against you in front of a judge in secret. It's called an ex parte hearing. You're not even aware it's going on. And the judge could say, oh, yeah, Sherry Gilligan, a name I see here in our comment section right now, she's dangerous and she should have her guns taken away. And the cops will come to your house, take your guns, and that's the first you hear about it. And then later, a month later, 2 months later, 6 months later, you go back before a judge and try to prove that you weren't guilty. That is the definition of tyranny. There is no due process. It violates many of our constitutional rights. And folks, this is their goal, because this is far more impactful for them than banning AR-15s or any one certain type of firearm, because they're going to grab all your guns through this red flag gun seizure law. And that's option number one. Now, as you heard from Patrick, option number two, it's a little more insidious, and it allows Republicans in D.C. to say, oh, no, we didn't really pass red flag gun seizures. We just left it up to the states to do it. And if they do it, we're going to give them millions and millions and millions and hundreds of millions of dollars to implement. That is option number two. And this bill right now is being sponsored not by Dick Blumenthal, not by Dick Durbin, not by Chuck Schumer. This bill is being sponsored right now by Marco Rubio and Rick Scott, Republicans from Florida. And it's a funding mechanism to implement this all across the country, guys. This is happening very quickly. Go immediately to stopredflags.com, stopredflags.com, and sign your email to your senator and telling them hell no to any attempt to pass these red flag laws.
Aaron, we have a lot of details going on. It's a rapidly changing situation.
Yeah.
All this has happened in just 72 hours, 96 hours. I don't know exactly how long it is. Working some sources this week, working a number of members of Congress today on the phone and on text. Nancy Pelosi over in the House is bringing Lucy McBath, those of us in Georgia, she is bringing Lucy McBath's red flag gun bill to the floor the week of June the 6th when they come back into Congress. Let me say that again. Red flags is going to pass the House very likely in less than 2 weeks, okay? And the Senate is going out of session over the weekend, and next week the House is going out of session. They're going to use that time to plot and scheme to destroy your Second Amendment rights. If you are not yet a member of the American Firearms Association, no more excuses, guys. Hop on board tonight. Join with tens and tens and tens of thousands of the members and supporters of the American Firearms Association. Join AFA.org. Join AFA.org. I want to get into another topic here in just a second, but we would love to read your name and your city. I know you're proud of where you're from. And by the way, let us know where you are watching from. Comment down in the comments section. We're going to read names here at the end of the show of people who have joined as new members of the American Firearms Association. Aaron, we have to talk about the traitorous, scandalous National Rifle Association.
Oh, yeah.
Sources on Capitol Hill tell us that they are once again trying to cut a despicable, disgusting gun control deal. Tell us what we know.
Well, this is what we're hearing today from our sources on Capitol Hill, as you mentioned. This is how it always goes. When a bad thing happens like this, the NRA is too scared, too afraid with their $200,000 wardrobes they have there in their big building outside of Washington, D.C. They're too scared to stand up and say, hell no, we're not going to agree to any gun control. We're going to fight to stop every bill, and any Republican who even thinks about betraying our members and our gun rights is going to pay the price. They don't talk like that. So instead, what we're hearing right now in D.C. is that this compromise approach on red flags, that federal funding bill, you see, it's not as bad. It's not as bad, they say, as a full-on national red flag law. And that's why we're hearing that NRA is telling Republicans in D.C., you can vote for this bill and be okay. Because, folks, they haven't said a single thing on social media since the shooting happened. They're in full retreat mode. And what that means, and we have a lot of experience, and you worked on Capitol Hill for a long time, Patrick. What this means is right now, this is what we're hearing behind the scenes. They're telling Mitch McConnell, they're telling Republicans, it's okay. You can vote for this. We'll have your back. Don't forget, don't forget, we had the video somewhere. It was Chris Cox with the NRA who was loudly telling Congress to pass red flag gun seizures in 2018. This is their agenda item. They believe in this stuff. And so this is what we're hearing right now, guys, is that they are hearing from the NRA, Republicans in D.C. This is the time they can do this. And here's what's so sick about it. Well, see, it's okay because it's a Republican bill. It's Marco Rubio's bill. How bad can it be? It's Rick Scott's bill. How bad can it be? That's what this is. This is a real threat, guys. It is go time. Hit the email tonight at stopredflags.com and tell your senators, we don't care what the NRA says. We will hold you accountable if you even think about voting for red flag gun seizures.
On the subject of the National Rifle Association, I had and I've got a story. I've told it before and I'll say it again. I had the honor of serving as the chief of staff for Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was just on Tucker Carlson talking about gun issues 30 minutes ago. And she was right on point. Repeal gun-free zones. Okay, we'll talk about that here in just a few minutes. The NRA never offered to help one damn time Congresswoman Greene, who introduced more and was the lead sponsor of more pro-Second Amendment legislation than any other Republican in history. And you may say, in history, Patrick? Yes, in history. In history, no Republican has ever co-sponsored and been the lead sponsor of more significant Second Amendment legislation than Congresswoman Greene. And I never heard from the NRA one frigging time. And now they're going to insult all of us and spit it in the face of all of us by showing up to cut a deal? Absolutely not. I'm sick of it, and you should be sick of it too. And it's time to, if you're still a member over there, you do what you got to do. But I'm telling you, if we want to save this country, if we want to save our Second Amendment rights, if we want to save our republic, it is all about the Second Amendment, and the NRA will screw us. Come on over to the American Firearms Association. Join AFA.org. Let us know where you're watching from, guys. I want to shift gears. Aaron, do you have another point on all this?
Well, I have the video for anybody who still wonders, is it true? Does the NRA actually back red flags? We have the video if you want to post it right now, Patrick. You want me to play it?
Yeah, I mean, play that, and then let's shift to another topic, and we can beat on them a little bit later.
Yeah, here we go.
Importantly, we need to stop dangerous people before they act. So Congress should provide funding for states to adopt risk protection orders. This can help prevent violent behavior before it turns into a tragedy. These laws allow a court to intervene and temporarily remove firearms when a person threatens violence to themselves or others. To be effective and constitutional, they should have strong due process protections and require that the person get treatment.
I mean, you just heard it with your own ears, folks. This is the NRA. Granted, Chris Cox is gone now, but they have never retreated from this position. They fully support modified red flag laws. And Patrick, we know how this works, right? They do this they'll take a bad bill, make it one notch better, and say, there, we fixed it. What their idea of this is removing ex parte hearings. You see, in their mind, as long as you're allowed to be there in court, as your gun rights are stripped away, it's okay. But the American Firearms Association has always said that the idea of having your firearms confiscated, never having been even arrested, let alone convicted for a crime, is absolute tyranny. There is no good version of a red flag gun seizure law.
Yeah, Aaron, and I could keep going on this, and I want to keep going on it, and we can hammer them all day long. We've got a couple weeks here where there's going to be major fights. I want to shift gears right now. How many of y'all have been hearing and seeing and watching what is going on in Texas and the information that's coming out of that school shooting in Uvalde? It's unbelievable. I'm sick of it. If you've been watching and seeing some of that stuff, guys, post some articles in the links. Let us know what you've been hearing, because there's new information coming out all the time. We have this school down in Texas. Sounds like the police officers were out, didn't go in for 40 minutes, and this guy's just rampaging inside. I read for 12 minutes, this guy was shooting at a funeral home across the street. I get it. It's a war zone type atmosphere. There's guns, there's stuff flying everywhere, and I don't know if that's an accurate portrayal or not. But Aaron, I mean, you are a police officer. Just give me your thoughts on the whole situation here. We see parents pinned down on the ground going to save their kids. We see a woman who was handcuffed by U.S. Marshals who wanted to bust into the school. I mean, something was really, really wrong here down in Texas.
Well, it's not the first time we've seen this, right? Parkland, Florida, with the same thing. This officer, stood outside, heard the gunshots, did nothing. I think he got fired perhaps from his job. And, the bottom line is that this is the point here remains. You cannot trust anybody else for your personal safety. There are so many things still coming out of this situation in Texas right now. So no one knows the exact details, but it seems very obvious now that for 40 minutes, this guy was inside shooting, killing, murdering children. And he was not stopped. He was not. It took over an hour, 40 minutes to an hour, I guess, before the right officers arrived and got inside and killed that violent piece of trash. But this happens a lot now. We saw it in Parkland. Some are saying we saw it in Columbine. I can't quite remember exactly all of that from, was it 98, 97? I think it was 98. But this happens a lot. And the bottom line here is that gun-free zones are deadly. That's why most of these shootings, almost all of them, happen in gun-free zones. We all know that. That's not a secret anymore. And that's why all the gun control being pushed right now in D.C. won't change anything, because it only limits us. It only limits good guys, like the folks who are watching the show right now. It limits your self-defense option. Magazine limits. They limit your options, not criminals. Background checks. Only databases, the good guys. It doesn't stop the bad guys. Gun-free zones don't help us. It only helps criminals. All of this stuff is designed on purpose to disarm us and make us a weak, watered-down population that cannot stop tyranny. This is on purpose.
Yeah, it's absolutely on purpose, Aaron.
A lot of people are asking in the comments, Patrick, again, who are the Republicans who are screwing us? Is it a state-level bill? I'm going to recap again here for those who are getting on late here. People are asking for the names of the Republicans. Yeah, this is happening today in D.C. I want to be clear. This is a federal threat now. This is national. If you're watching on a state page, that's great. This is a federal fight coming right now. And the list of Republicans who are actively involved in conversations today with Dick Blumenthal, Chuck Schumer, includes Susan. This is all Republicans now. Susan Collins, Maine; Mitt Romney, Utah; Pat Toomey, Pennsylvania; Roy Blunt, Missouri; Rob Portman, Ohio; Lindsey Graham, South Carolina; Bill Cassidy, Louisiana; Mike Braun, Indiana; Tom Tillis, North Carolina; John Cornyn, Texas; and Rick Scott from Florida. Patrick, we need to have 60 votes to get a bill on the floor. Discuss the filibuster. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 11 Republicans here. Walk us through the filibuster process and what 11 Republicans means in this context.
So it's very, very dangerous. And the Senate right now is 50 Republicans, 50 Democrats, with the vice president being the tiebreaker, according to the Constitution, Kamala Harris. The Democrats control the Senate. They have the White House. They have the House. The filibuster is there. It takes 60 votes to break a filibuster, right? So the Democrats can't get anything done unless they, number one, destroy the filibuster and end the filibuster. And all it takes is 51, in which case they could get Kamala Harris, as long as they had Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. But they may not even need those people.
Right.
If these traitors, or if Mitch McConnell unleashes and releases these traitorous Republicans to get them to 60, 10, 11, 12 Republicans to get them to 60. And Aaron talked about it earlier. There are 5 retiring Republicans. We've got Richard Burr of North Carolina, Roy Blunt of Missouri, Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania, Rob Portman of Ohio, and who's the other one, Aaron?
Tom Tillis.
No, Tillis is staying. It's Richard Burr of North Carolina.
Richard Burr
who's
from
heading out.
Yeah.
Somebody else is heading out. The point is, those are 5 McConnell can say, you can vote for whatever you want.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that leaves another 5. And John Cornyn is in the negotiations. Lindsey Graham is in the negotiations. Susan Collins is in these gun control negotiations.
Rick Scott signed red flags as governor in Florida.
So we've got to assume that he's gone on this.
Yeah.
But again, massive grassroots heat and pressure. We know this won't work. We know this is just a gateway to tyranny. And we know this is kamikaze-style gun control from the Democrats. And if Republicans jump on that crashing airplane, which is what's happening in November, it is unforgivable because the Democrats want to talk about gun control. They want to talk about all this other stuff. And we got $6 a gallon gas.
Yeah.
A lot of people can't afford to buy groceries. Inflation is out of control. Our schools are woke. Green New Deal policies are destroying our country. We're sending $40 billion to the Ukraine. We've got potential fights with China and everybody else all over the world. They don't want to talk about this stuff. They want to talk about taking away our guns. And Republicans who join with them, that is a big, bad deal. So the filibuster is 60. If Republicans help them get to 60, I mean, it's a sad, sad day. But we're not going to let them do that because y'all are going to get involved. StopRedFlags.com. We have another website called TeacherCarry.com. TeacherCarry.com. You can sign the official Teacher Carry petition there, guys. And of course, join the American Firearms Association tonight. Do not wait at joinafa.org. Aaron, I'm going to ask you to talk about a bill, and I'm going to look up the bill number here real quick. Where is that? It is the Congressman Thomas Massey of Kentucky, the Safe Students Act, H.R. 7415. This deals with the gun-free school zones of 1990. Let everybody know what that's all about, why it's significant. Of course, states have rights on this issue as well, but why we need to get rid of this law that's been on the books for 32 years.
Well, yeah, it was back in the 90s, Republicans and Democrats alike, like we're discussing it right now tonight when it comes to red flags. Rick Santorum was one of the driving guys on this out of Pennsylvania, made it a felony to have a firearm at 1,000 feet of a school. And we have seen hundreds of different situations now, sometimes with a small body count. Sometimes you have Uvalde, Texas style body counts where these madmen know that, you know what, when they're going to go and do their heinous deeds, they go to a school and they're looking for innocent victims, looking for innocent children in these cases. And they know that almost nobody there can fight back. Maybe there's an unarmed police officer on site. Many times not for smaller schools. And as we're learning now, even if they're there, it doesn't mean they're going to actually engage with this psychopath. And so that is the problem we have. If we would lift the federal Gun-Free Schools Act and repeal that, we could have other people on these school grounds that can fight back. Parents who are there to visit their kids or drop off their kids, groundskeepers, janitors, teachers, anybody who's legally allowed to carry when they're on that school property could defend themselves and, much more importantly, defend those children. But they can't do it right now because federal law makes it a crime. So you're saying Tom Massey's bill would repeal all of that. Is that correct, Patrick?
Right.
I haven't seen that bill recently.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct.
Everybody knows this is the case. This is no secret anymore. We all know that gun-free zones are the target. It's not in dispute. It's always the target. Churches, schools, businesses that are gun-free zones, movie theaters. It's always a target. And as long as we keep, but they're going to use these. They don't care about the death. This is all being used to advance their agenda. That's it. That's it.
Guys, I want to read a bunch of new member names off here. If you want to hear your name read on the show before the end of the show tonight, join up today at joinafa.org. Sign a petition at stopredflags.com. Send an email directly into your senators. Let me read off a few of these names. We call this AFA roll call. If you're not yet a member, get on board. We've got Al in Kelseyville, California, joined up $100 level. Thank you, Al. We've got Tim in Raytown, Missouri, joined up as a member.
I've been there.
Really? That's the same. Wow. A very generous donor just came in, and I'm going to read his name off in a second. Raytown, believe it or not, one of my favorite shows is Mama's Family. I don't know if you watched that back in the day. But she lived in Raytown. Okay, so we don't know if it was Raytown, Missouri or some other Raytown, but I love Mama's Family. Vicki Lawrence. William from Boise, Idaho has just joined up at the life member level for the American Firearms Association.
Oh, thank you, man.
$1,000, William.
Thank
We're
you.
not going to read your last name off, but
Thank
you're in
you.
that great state of Idaho. Thank you so much, William. This truly is the fight of our lives. And, Aaron's got a bunch of kids, and I do too. And it's very important that we protect these freedoms and liberties for our children. Cindy in Rome, Georgia. That is Northwest Georgia, home to Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Northwest Georgia, the 14th District of Georgia. Dane from Stillwater, Minnesota is in. Barbara from Jamestown, North Dakota is in. Carl in Moberly, Missouri, $35 member. William in Wilmington, North Carolina, $125 member level. John in Marceline, Missouri is in as a member. I'm going to keep going. Joseph, Marietta, Georgia, not too far from me here in Kennesaw. Charles, Santa Clara, California. Frank, Norton, Ohio. Guys, join up at joinafa.org, joinafa.org. William in Wilmington, North Carolina again. Barry, Hustonville, Kentucky. Jenny in Van Buren, Arkansas. I could keep going, but you probably get tired of it. Let us know where you're watching from. Join up at joinafa.org. Get involved in the battle, guys. We are talking about, we led the show with this. Go back and watch the show if you've missed most of it. Mitch McConnell. Everybody knows Cocaine Mitch, right? Cocaine Mitch. Today, he released a number of his Republicans to go and negotiate with Democrats on gun control. This guy is not stupid. He knows what he's doing, and he's very deliberate and calculated. Now, maybe there's another motive here. Maybe he's trying to let this fizzle. He's done this before. But we can't take that. We can't think that that's going to happen. I've been to Charles City, Iowa. We can't think that that's going to happen. This is a very serious threat. Some dates. The week of June 6th through 10, Congress is back in session. We will be in Washington, D.C. There's expected to be massive gun control hearings. David Hogg is going to be there, and all the red shirt radicals. I saw them on Capitol Hill today with Donna and Dick Blumenthal, with Chris Murphy of Connecticut, and others. And then June 11th is going to be another March for Our Lives. David Hogg, they're trying to make a comeback. Let's beat them down politically. Politically, okay. That is politically, and that means win this battle. Get active, get mobilized, get involved, sign your petitions, join up at joinafa.org. For those of y'all at the state level, a lot of y'all are members of our state level organizations, which we've been building and fighting for over a decade. Aaron since 2009 or 10 in Iowa and across the country. Myself in Georgia with a few interruptions here and there. Aaron, what are state level organizations and your email list going to be seeing? What are they going to be asked to do in the coming days specifically as it pertains to their senators and even their congressmen?
Yeah, we're going to give you guys action alerts at the state level on your particular senators and who needs to hear from gun owners when. A lot of our members are in red states. A lot of our members are in blue states when it comes to the state level organizations. But we're seeing a lot of problems right now amongst Republicans. You mentioned Roy Blunt. We know this guy is a traitor. We know he's always backing Biden's agenda. He's on his way out. He needs to hear from you guys. But so does Josh Hawley. Talk about Iowa for a minute. Chuck Grassley's up for re-election this year. So you're not going to see Chuck. He's not dumb. He's not going to be out there publicly engaged in this stuff. But as an Iowan, I want to see Chuck Grassley stand up and publicly condemn this BS. I want to see Chuck Grassley, as the ranking member of Judiciary, stand up and say, this is unconstitutional. This is tyrannical. This is gun control. We are Republicans. We need to oppose this. I oppose this. Iowa opposes this. That's what we want to see. I've never seen it happen, but maybe it still could. So you're going to get a lot of updates from the groups at that level, telling you guys who to contact with one-click action alerts to take action and make it happen. But everybody right now has to hear from you. Some of you are asking us, I'm in a blue state, so why does it matter? Here's why it matters. There are still Democrats who are on the ballot this fall. Take Raphael Warnock in Georgia. He doesn't want to touch gun control right now. He's in a hell of a fight right now in Georgia. It's going to go back red. Everybody suspects that. And Raphael Warnock does not want to vote on a gun control bill right now. many Democrats are concerned behind the scenes that if we push this too hard, we're going to lose our entire Senate majority. So if you're a New Yorker right now, you're saying, why would I contact Chuck Schumer? That's why. Not because the guy can be made into being pro-gun, but because he wants power over everything else. And so if he thinks this might cost him his majority, not his personal seat, but his majority control, they may still pull this stuff back. We've seen it happen before. So red state or blue state, it's time for your senators to hear from you immediately. We're going to have custom action alerts for everybody. If you're in a red state or a blue state, to take action, be watching your inbox, guys, and be ready to go.
Yeah, guys. Again, thank you to all of y'all who are joining up tonight. Very, very important show, and we're going to keep going on for just a few more minutes here. Guys, again, the second week in June is going to be a big week in the gun control battle. But over the next 10 to 12 days, this is where the scheming comes in. This is where the backroom deals come in. That Dick Blumenthal with just like blood coming out of his mouth from Connecticut is like, this is what they wait for. This is what they want. This is the time to drive the dagger through the heart of our Second Amendment rights. And just rip it apart. This is what they live for. I think Ben said it yesterday or a couple days ago on the show. They have these bills in a drawer. Okay, they're ready to go. They have their game plan in a box. They are ready to go. The fake news media has their talking points. Tonight, the New York Yankees. This is a new angle. I think they did this a little bit a few years ago, but the New York Yankees, they're pushing gun control hard all over Twitter, all over at their games. Steve Kerr, this communist NBA coach out at Golden State, they're putting it all over the screens and big boards. Text your congressmen, text your senators, and do all this stuff. This is going to be nuclear levels of fake news media lying, major athletic teams and sports franchises, every woke corporation in America, which is very dangerous for them at this point. I think that they need to know that because, look, and I'll echo the words of my former boss, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. 2 years ago, Black Lives Matter and Antifa burned American cities almost to the ground, in particular Minneapolis. Nobody went to jail long-term or permanently. Nobody said a dang word.
No.
And if that ever happens again, and these communists in Washington, D.C. are successful in attempting to disarm us or legally make us criminals according to the law, not necessarily coming and taking all our guns, if they ever do that, that's the consequences. They will set free their hooligans and their criminals and their thugs all over us, not just in the cities, but in the suburbs and everywhere else. And they'll pass all sorts of crap that you can't even imagine. So we're fired up tonight because we have to be, and it is vital. It's absolutely vital that everybody get fired up. Join up at joinafa.org tonight.
Well, it's what you said, Patrick. It's exactly right. They're not going to stop. If the Democrats think this is their shot, if the GOP rolls over and says, fine, we'll give you 11 or 12 votes, they're not going to stop with the Rubio red flag gun seizure bill. They will move as far and as fast as they can. If they believe, here's the danger. You got two theories here. Some Democrats are scared. They want to keep their majority, and they might pull back a little bit if they believe they're going to lose it. Others are already saying, we know we're going to lose our majority. The hell with it. We're going all the way. And if they believe that's the reality in Congress in the fall, and if they have Republicans who will enable them, they may go far beyond Rubio's red flag bill. We may see an AR-15 ban vote on the floor. We may see a national gun registry on the floor. We may see all kinds of things on the floor in the next couple of weeks because they know this is probably their last shot before the midterms to make this happen. This is not guaranteed at all to end with Marco Rubio's red flag gun seizure bill. So it is crucial that you fire off your emails. The link is right there. It's stopredflags.com. If you're in Florida, I just want to make sure I've mentioned this enough times. Did I say Marco Rubio enough times? Rubio. This is the little, 5'2" midget who is doing this to us. This is a Republican who thinks he's presidential material.
Right.
Who is the one authoring this trash. So if you think to yourself, gosh, AFA is a bunch of hard asses, they're not very nice to Republicans, folks. they're not worth being nice to right now. We have nobody standing up and fighting for us right now. We have 11, 12 Republicans now actively talking about passing gun control. We have Republicans like Marco Rubio sponsoring gun control bills, and this is why AFA is different. We sound the alarm. We call out names. Republicans, Democrats, it doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, if we lose our rights now, we're never going to get them back. We're never going to get them back. And you mentioned this, Patrick. I've got 7 kids. You've got a bunch of kids. Our whole team has a bunch of kids. And when I go home from work at night, it's my oldest son. He's 16, and he's asking me, what's going to happen on banning AR-15s? I want to buy an AR-15. I want to have the right to buy these firearms. What's going to happen? And all of our kids are asking us that. All of your kids are asking you that. And that is the real risk here. Everybody already has guns who's watching this broadcast tonight. I understand that. I got a ton of guns. You got a ton of guns. Patrick, we all have a bunch of guns. This is about our grandkids. This is about our great-great-grandkids. These are the people we should be fighting for, that we are fighting for today, because if we lose this fight in D.C., it will be our grandkids and our great-grandkids who pay the price for this tyranny, because when this country becomes disarmed, we'll be like everybody else across the globe who is disarmed, unable to defend ourselves against naked tyranny. And folks, that will come if our country is disarmed. You know, our forefathers, they did their job. They gave us these freedoms. Our grandfathers, fought to defend them. And now it's our turn to do our part in this great intergenerational fight for freedom. Our grandkids are counting on us today, guys. Get involved. StopRedFlags.com. And as you heard from Patrick, join up at joinafa.org and get involved in this fight.
Yeah, I want to use the words of Jen Psaki, circle back to the speed with which things are moving here, guys. Yeah, circle back. Let's circle back to it. Where did I hear that? Oh, I heard it today in the Texas press conference. The sheriff said, "Oh, I'll circle back on that for you." The speed with which this stuff is moving, and we talk about it in our national email alerts that go out, which, by the way, when you become a member, you sign one of our petitions, you're going to get on those email alerts. It's top level newsletter stuff, guys. A couple of weeks ago, we were describing what we believe the Democrats were up to is kamikaze style gun control. You know what a kamikaze is? The Japanese, they take the planes and they crash it right into a ship and they go out a hero, right? Democrats know this. They just want to be the heroes. Okay. They want to do something for the radical left, even if they lose in November. That was 10, 12 days ago. Then we have Dettelbach. What was that, yesterday? Steve Dettelbach yesterday in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee, coming at us fast. 4 or 5 days ago, last Friday, Cory Booker, he introduced the king of all gun control bills, StopBidenBooker.com. You can sign your petition against that there, guys. And now we have what happened in Texas over the weekend. We've got a full bum rush, literally bumming right through the doors of the Senate. They are coming for us. They're moving quickly. They know that crisis is the friend of the state. They literally smell blood in the water, and they are going for the kill. We have to be just as active. And if I'm pep talking y'all, that's exactly what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, this is it. Biden is damaged. Okay. He is severely damaged. There is no excuse for a madman who had a horrific life. We get it. The kid down in Texas, it's his fault. The kid, he's 18-year-old man. Single parent household, freaking crazy. And I read today he was cutting his face, harassing people, and everything else. We don't need a federal government law in our country and in our communities to stop someone like that. People have got to step up, and we've got to push back against our families being torn apart and the smut all over the TV and the internet that is destroying children, because that has to be talked about as well. That can't necessarily be legislated. And it can't. It cannot. Yeah. And Chris was talking about this earlier today, and he did it better than I did. Yeah, telling little boys at 3 years old that they can be girls. Okay? Add all this up, guys. This is the consequence of what we're dealing with. One of our members, I think it was on one of our posts today or the other day, they said, I live in Uvalde. Everybody has guns. Well, except the teachers. Everybody has guns. This was an act of the devil. Okay, so it's not about the guns. It
Yeah.
is about evil people doing evil things. And the only way to stop that is for good people to stop these people, whether that be with a gun or all sorts of cultural issues that we could get so far into. We don't have enough time to do that today, guys. But I'm mad. I've got 4 kids. Aaron's got 7. Of course, we are sick to death. Unimaginable. Seeing parents laying on the ground, just on one facet of this, being tackled by police from going in and saving their kids. What would you do? You would do the same thing, but it's just unimaginable. We can never be 100% secure. We can never be 100% safe. But gosh darn it, we can take actions to make sure that the kids potentially are safe. And governments all across the board are failing to do that. But the answer is not to take away the firearms of the law-abiding. We cannot allow it, guys. That was my soapbox. Join up at joinafa.org. I'm going to read off a few more members, and then Aaron's going to close us up here, guys, because we got members just absolutely pouring in here tonight. New member of the American Firearms Association. We've got Aaron up in Catskill, New York. That's up in Catskill, New York. Danny in San Antonio, Texas, new member. Jerry in Rockport, Texas, $75 member. Beth in Navarre, Ohio, $75 member. Donald in Duluth, Minnesota is in. Mike in Nevada, Missouri is in. David in Warsaw, Missouri is in as a member. Brian in Dover, Delaware is in at the $75 level, guys. As you can see, we're all over the country. Together, we can win these battles. Somebody asked me today, believe it or not, it was the fake news Washington Post. And I said,
Yeah.
I'm not talking to you on the phone. You can send me an email.
Yeah.
How do you keep winning? How do you guys keep winning these battles? It's the people. It's the people who win the battles because it's our rights, and it's our rights that we're motivated to protect. Period. And we are not going to stop until they kill us all. Maybe that happens one day. I don't know. I hope not. But anyways, Aaron, just recap a little bit what was going on here tonight. One last push, people who are just now signing on, and then we'll probably be back tomorrow.
Well, folks, we've warned about this for a long time. I think everyone can think back to 2021, right? For those first 4 or 5 months of that year, we had a new gun control bill filed every 6 minutes, the way it seemed in D.C. You were working on Capitol Hill that year in D.C., Patrick. We all were talking all the time, gun control nonstop. And about halfway through 2021, we all kind of thought, you know what? Biden's not going to get the votes in the Senate, and that threat began to mitigate. And we warned everybody, this is only the case until we see mass shootings, and the Democrats already have their playbook, and they're going to use these to advance tyranny. Mark our words. Hopefully, they were never going to come true, and they have. They have. And now you got Buffalo, now you have Uvalde, Texas. You've got lots and lots of 30 dead Americans in the last couple of days in gun-free zones or in states that ban self-defense effectively in New York State. And so, of course, the Dems are going to try to ram through multiple bills. Tonight's news, if you're getting tuned in late, tonight's news is that Mitch McConnell has authorized 11 Senate Republicans, about a third of whom are about to retire, and they don't give a crap less what happens to them now. Authorize them to make a deal with Chuck Schumer on gun control. There are 2 major bills in play. The first one, the biggest risk right now, red flag gun seizures. Taking away your guns before conviction in court, before any even arrest happens. That's number 1. And number 2, a national gun registry, H.R. 8. It is back. These things are coming up for votes, and they're happening fast. They're heading home for Memorial Day break. They're out for the week. Is that correct, Patrick? They're out for 1 week?
Yeah, they're coming back.
But
June 6th.
when they're out, that doesn't mean that the fight is over. What it means is that they're working behind the scenes, working the phones, and whipping up votes, trying to get support for this. And so when they come back a week from tomorrow, after that week is done, rather, you're going to see rapid action in the House on red flag gun seizures. And if we don't watch out, John Cornyn, Rick Scott, Mitt Romney, Marco Rubio, Tom Tillis, Roy Blunt, all of these people are going to broker a deal, and we're going to see a vote, and it might actually pass in the Senate. This is a red alert. This is no longer a theory. It's not a drill, as you heard from Patrick. This is happening immediately. You must take action at stopredflags.com. Email your senators now. Tell them no. And also, don't forget, this is being choreographed or at least allowed to happen because the National Rifle Association has always been A-OK with red flag gun seizure laws. And we are hearing from our sources right now that NRA is telling congressional Republicans, you can vote for this. We will not attack you for it. We will have your back. Guys, you must take action. StopRedFlags.com and then go to joinafa.org and get involved in our fight to stop these bills. Like we say here a lot, if we lose these freedoms, we will not get them back, folks. That is the nature of tyrants. That is the nature of tyranny. We must stop this now. Much more to come, guys. Probably live again tomorrow. Share our video. Social media hates us. Zuckerberg hates us. Help us get the word out. Share our video. Go to stopredflags.com. Go to joinafa.org and join the fight. More to come tomorrow. Stay safe, stay armed, stay dangerous, and we'll keep you informed.